Munster kept Glasgow at arm's length to seal an impressive victory at Musgrave Park. My name's Mark, let's talk rugby. Munster got off to a good start, as we've seen them do in the last few games. They get an early penalty, they go up the line, and Glasgow, they take Byrne out in the air. They go to the corner. Glasgow do exactly the same thing again, taking a player out in the line out. They get warned about that. Munster kick back into the corner. Glasgow then do really well to repel the maul, but then some big carries from Coombs and Lankerville gets them close. Then Odogbo goes over under the posts. Crowley converts for 7-0, and it's all Munster at this point. Glasgow doing everything they can to try and slow down that attack. MacLeod doing that illegally. He gets a yellow card for not rolling away, as Craig Casey does a bit of a stuntman fall over him to make it very clear to the referee that he was in the way. Munster then surge back into that Glasgow 22. They shift it. Daly cross kicks to Tom Ahern. He gets taken out in the air, but then he recovers and drives over to score with a bit of help from Sean O'Brien. The offence then was deemed a penalty only for him being taken out in the air, so there's no yellow card, but the try is good. Crowley misses the touchline conversion. It's 12-0. Munster, they keep coming from the restart. They work it to the left wing and get Sean O'Brien into space. He then breaks down the wing, kicks back in field for Nankerville to gather. He surges into the Glasgow 22, takes contact, it's recycled, and then they get it out to Barron, who goes over out wide. Crowley lands the conversion for 19-0. Glasgow then get their first chance of the game and they take it. They go up the line into the 22 from a penalty. Great kick from Duncan Weir, gets him right into the corner. Matthews hits his man in the line out, and they're just going forward at a rate of knots. Munster's maul defence completely melts away as they drive over the line. Vailanu is the scorer. Great execution from the Warriors there. Weir misses what was a very kickable conversion. It's 19-5. Munster then back into that Glasgow 22. They're applying pressure, but Glasgow steal a couple of their lineouts to keep them at bay for the moment. Munster, they started well against Ulster and Leinster, but they went on to lose those games, and they kind of struggled really at this kind of point in the game to wrestle back momentum after the opposition started to come back at them. They seem though to have learned from that. Frisch gets them on the front foot. Coombs then with nice show and go and some nice footwork. Then soft hands from Archer out wide, and then Nash puts a Ahern over in the corner for the bonus point try. Crowley with another touchline conversion is 26-5, and that was a halftime score. Glasgow then get the start that they needed to the second half. Go to the corner from a penalty early. They then go to the front of the line out. The backs come in to help the maul, and Johnny Matthews scores his 6th try of the season. And that guy is just a try machine. He could have actually, because they got so many maul tries tonight, he could have easily been on 9 tries for the season. But then Duncan Weir again misses the conversion, and it's 26-10. Munster, they hit back though. They're applying more pressure. Even though Crowley actually misses a touch finder from a penalty that he tried to get right into the corner, but one of the Glasgow players very cleverly leaps from off the field to catch the ball and keep it in play. Glasgow though then get warned for playing the line close to their own line. Munster, they're pounding away at that line, and then Nankerville picks a great line and just has the power to get over to score. Sardoni gets a yellow card for rolling into the 9 just before the try was scored. Crowley converts for 33-10, and it feels like at that stage maybe Munster should be comfortable from here out, but it wasn't to be as comfortable as maybe Munster fans would have liked. But then Ollie Jaeger, recruited from the Crusaders, he comes on for the final 30 minutes for Munster. There's another great driving maul from Glasgow, and this one gets him another try. This time it gets halted short by Munster, but then Rory Darge, he drives over to score. Munster's defence really lapsed around the ruck. That time where they just kind of let him, drive over. A couple of players kind of got in each other's way. Weir misses another kickable conversion, and it's 33-15. That maul then delivers yet another try for Glasgow. Not long after that, Matthews, he was set for another try, but Munster collapsed the maul. It's a penalty try, 33-22. Byrne then gets a yellow card for his illegal efforts to halt the Glasgow maul. Hodnett then gets over from a tap penalty with a little help from Archer and Jaeger. Crowley converts to bring up 40 points. It's 40 points to 22, and that settles a bit of the Munster nerves, because it felt like that Glasgow were really coming back at them a bit too quickly for Munster's liking, and all through the game that maul was just completely unstoppable from Munster's point of view. Glasgow then, they blow a chance for a try from turnover ball. Xander Fagerson decides to carry into contact in the Munster 22, even though they had plenty of numbers out wide. If that ball had gone out wide, I'm pretty sure that they would have scored in the corner. Jaeger then gets in to win a penalty for Munster and a turnover, but Glasgow do score again, and there's no real surprise that it came from the maul. Again, just too good for that Munster maul defence, and Fraser is the scorer this time. Byrne also lucky, maybe not to get a second yellow card and actually be sent off, because he was in there up to the same tricks that got him the first yellow. Weir converts from 40 points to 29. Glasgow then, and they took the conversion quickly to try and get the restart, so we're just about able to restart, but in Glasgow there's a handling error from them, and that denies them the chance that they were hoping for to go for that losing bonus point to get themselves 2 bonus points out of the game. But in the end, they only get 1. It finishes 40 points to 29. We're going to have a look at some of the stats. I'm a bit worried to hit refresh here, because the stats weren't updated when I actually started this video. I'm just hoping. Okay, it looks like they updated them, because it had things like missed tackles was 0 and tackle success for both teams was 100%, which is a bit crazy. So the on attack, 6 tries to 5 for Munster. In terms of actually attack with ball in hand, Munster definitely the better of the two teams, but there isn't just one way to score tries in rugby, and that Glasgow maul is just such a weapon for them, and it's gonna keep them in games and give them chances, but I think they need to add something extra to that in order to win games like this. Getting them all tries is great, and keep them in touch. Maybe Weir, if you had converted a few more of them, they might have been even closer, but they didn't really offer that much other than from the maul. So maybe having, and it's kind of strange as well, because Glasgow, they have, like last season, they had that decent link up between forwards and backs. At the moment, it seems like they're a bit more forward dominated. So I'd like to see them maybe go a little bit back towards, a bit more of a balance. But they've been top of the table, so who am I to give them advice on what they should be doing in terms of their attack? But then possession, 55% for Munster, 45% for Glasgow. Glasgow really did well, with the possession that they had. I felt, especially when they did get into the point where they could use that line-out maul. Munster, keeping most of the ball and going through some nice phases. And Glasgow at times did find it hard to kind of get the ball back off them. Clean breaks then just tells you who were the most ambitious with ball in hand. 6 for Munster and 0 for Glasgow. Defenders beaten then, 21 for Munster, 17 for Glasgow. Munster, I think, will be a little, not too pleased with the way that, Darge got over his try as well. That was a couple of defenders beaten for him, probably because the two boys that were at either side of that ruck when he went over didn't really lay a hand on him. Offloads then, 1 for Munster, 4 for Glasgow. It wasn't one of those games where, offloads were creating amazing tries or anything like that, but some of Munster's play, without offloads was still pretty impressive. Territory then, 56% for Munster, 44% for Glasgow. Again, Munster holding onto the ball and most of it in the Glasgow half as well. Number of tackles, 110 for Munster, 162 for Glasgow. Missed tackles then, 17 for Munster, 21 for Glasgow. And we saw, the Glasgow, one of the top tackling teams in terms of number of tackles so far this season. So another 162 in the bank for them as well. So they're going to be up there near the top for another while in that respect as well. Tackling percentage then, 87% for Munster, which is kind of around where they've been. I think they've been like 86 so far on average for the season. Glasgow at 89 is a little bit down from where they were. They're one of the top defenses in the league, at least in terms of first up tackles from them. So a little bit of a dip from them, but I think it was Munster's play was causing that and causing those extra missed tackles that they had. Turnovers 1 then, 7 for Munster, 5 for Glasgow. Munster with, a couple of decent turnovers there towards the end, where Glasgow were trying to get that, fifth try to really give them a chance to kind of come hard at Munster at the end, looking for at least a losing bonus point, if not potentially to get the to get the win. But Munster turned over at a few crucial times around then and kind of stalled them in terms of getting that try that really would give them the platform. Glasgow with their turnovers, the most memorable ones were from the lineouts, where they were stealing lineouts from Munster when Munster were trying to apply extra pressure to them. Then kicks retained, 5 from Munster and none from the Warriors. So I thought, Casey's box kicking, we talked about how much has improved, and again, it was really good tonight. Crowley with some decent kicks as well, and it's not just about the guy kicking the ball, it's about the chase as well and the competition in the air, and Munster did that really well tonight. Penalties then, 11 penalties each. Both teams at points were under pressure and they got cards because of that. And there were points as well, especially with Glasgow, where it was kind of an accumulation of penalties in a dangerous area as well, was leading them to them kind of picking up, especially the second yellow card. I think for Sardonia might have merited a yellow card on its own, but there was a reminder to the referee that they'd gotten a warning earlier on in the first half as well, so that may have been on his mind when he gave that yellow card. But 11 penalties each is not great discipline from either team, but as I said, they both kind of had areas where they struggled and were giving away penalties. Munster especially on their maul defence, and then Glasgow just in kind of their line defence and trying to slow that Munster ball down, because the speed of Munster's attack really was causing them huge problems, and the conceding of the penalties was probably what they decided. Well, obviously they wanted to get away with what they're doing, but they decided slowing the ball down was the better option, even if it meant conceding those penalties. In terms of both teams then, so Munster, they were on top in general play, and that was enough for them tonight. They're obviously going to have to look at that maul defence and improve it, though, because, even though Glasgow are an excellent mauling team, you have to offer a little bit more on your maul defence, because they're not the only team with a very good maul attack. Glasgow, they found it hard to break down the Munster defence, but when they did get that maul going close to the line, they looked completely unstoppable, and it was just kind of night and day really for them. When they were attacking with ball in hand, it looked like they couldn't beat anyone, and once they kind of collectively got there in the maul, it just looked so easy for them. Munster, as I said, they're going to want to improve that maul defence, but they're definitely going to be happy with a display against a Glasgow team who are currently top of the table, and now both teams are going to look towards Europe for the coming weekend.